Hi everyone. Uh, Today is period day 2, and I'm in misery. Not as much as yesterday because day 1 is usually the most painful and is supposed to be the lightest. But now that I got off the pill and I've been off it from, I guess, June. I think it was June. So June, July, August, September. This is the heaviest period I think I remember having had. Have I had a heavier period than this? I don't remember having had a heavier period than this. If I have, it's been years. And yeah, my camera is shaking because my leg is shaking because I'm in a bit of pain. I've taken paracetamol on an empty stomach. My ginger tea is finished. I woke up at noon because I went to bed at like maybe 1. I sat, I was talking to a friend of mine, and oh my goodness, I feel like every woman I've talked to can relate to this, whether from high school or primary school, depending on when you had your period. But you know how we used to sit in chairs and then you have your period, like you haven't yet figured it out properly. It's probably your first, second, third period. I don't know. You're young. I've had my period since I was 14. I'm 36. I still haven't figured it out completely. It's like one of those onion layered relationships. Sidebar, I love that I have a hairline. I think if someone had told me that locking my hair would save me all the trauma related to having nappy hair, if someone had told me this, my mother would not have allowed it, but if someone had told me this, I would have locked my hair ages ago. Because the freedom that comes with being able to shower head to toe, being able to just use any oil you're using on your body for your hair, because I like to use natural products, which I guess I haven't oiled my skin since I took a shower at 6 this morning because I was going back to bed. But yeah, so I have period brain. My brain is I'm going to sound very, I don't know, maybe incoherent, or like my train of thought is a lot worse when I'm on my period. So I have, the pain has subsided finally. It usually takes like on an empty stomach, because I am on an empty stomach, like I haven't eaten anything from morning. Why? Because I'm on iron supplements, and iron supplements need to be taken on an empty stomach, and because the only thing I had to eat was leftover pizza, which has cheese, which is rich in calcium, I didn't eat anything. But today is not the day when going hungry makes my pain terrible. That's day 3, which leaves me in this weird situation where I'm like, so am I actually traveling back to Berlin today? Because if day 3 finds me hungry, I'm going to be a mess. I do have snacks, but day 3 is one of those days when I need like food, like a proper meal. Um, so for anyone who has ever thought, oh, it's just your period, uh, I remember when my guy friend told me, my friend Isaac said, I can't imagine losing 3 productive days in a month, because I was telling him at least 3 days I'll have 3 days thrown out of work every month. Or at least I used to when my period was really bad and I'd never been on birth control until I came to Germany. Like I got on birth control days before I traveled to Germany. So I was describing to him how like my life is adjusted around my period. Like when I'm traveling, when I travel, how long I can travel, how to budget for that trip. It costs me more to travel during my period because then I'm looking for like comfort, because comfort means I don't feel like I'm going to throw up, and it means I'm probably seated in a comfortable chair because my lower back is usually in pain when I'm on my period. It also means my ankles feel tight sometimes. I mean, if you're traveling long distance, they'll swell, whether or not you're in your period. But Oh yeah, I schedule my plans to meet people around my period, my plans to have client meetings. I've done this again since I got my period. I got my period when I was 14. That means and I'm now 36, so that means for the past, what, 22 years, this has been my life. And when people make noise about feminism, when people speak up against women wanting to be treated fairly, considering we carry the workforce, we literally are the ones who get pregnant and give birth to children who therefore contribute to the workforce all over the world. Yet, childcare is still not an important issue for companies that require a workforce. If you guys use AI, good for you. We are not talking about you guys too much. We are talking about the people who need to hire actual people to work, but have a problem with giving women paid maternity leave or giving women safe spaces with childcare provided by the employer, or giving women permission to take days off when they're on their period, or health insurance companies that don't include is it dysmenorrhea? Is that what painful periods is called? Yeah, but those insurance companies that still don't include that. Oh, and we still live in a world where it takes an average of 7 to 10 years for a woman to get an endometriosis diagnosis, at which point it's probably moved from stage 1 to stage 3 or 4, because research has just screwed us over as women. I am literally stuck at my friend's house, and thankfully she's happy to have me. I'm stuck at my friend's house, losing an opportunity to go do something I had promised to do last month because my period came a little earlier than expected, and because it's unbearably heavy. I have basically stained myself twice in one night. And in that one night, I mean between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. I was already taking a shower. So, and midnight I wasn't asleep. I slept at almost 2. And even when I slept, I remember telling my friend, she's like, "You're sure you're comfortable, you don't want to layer anything?" And I told her, "I know, because I've already made my first mess, that I'll not sleep soundly." And I was in a bit of pain, and I finally fell asleep, and I conked out for maybe 3 hours straight, maybe 4. And then I woke up, and I remember thinking, ah, crap. I could just tell that something had gone terribly wrong. And then I'd not just slept in, like, I already leaked through my thickest pair of pants. So they had to be put aside, actually folded, so that, put aside so that I go launder them when I get home, because I'm uncomfortable about laundering anything that has blood in someone's house that is in my house, or with my clothes only. And then, yeah. So, or by hand, I usually wash those clothes by hand and then maybe take them again through the washing machine. But there's that. And then first of all, thank God she's a woman and she understands. And secondly, thank God she's a woman who will not shame you for staining her linens. And she was actually willing to clean up after me. And I was like, she asked her, "Would you be comfortable with that?" I said, "No." And the other thing is, when you're staying at a friend's house, and even if it's like your best friend, there's a way you just kind of feel some type of way about making a mess. And so I, of course, was already feeling that, because and ADHD makes everything worse, in that, like, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, even when a person is not rejecting you, you feel rejected. So add those layers. And then, so eventually, see you later, to also get to a place where you're feeling as if you're burdening someone by changing your plans, and of course that affects their plans. And then I wear stress in my body, that makes me feel more pain. By the way, this friend is a good person. She's not making me feel like a burden. She's not asking me to do more heavy lifting than I can. She's cooked for me. We've cleaned together. Her housemates are incredibly wonderful people. And yet, so there's this helplessness you have when you're on your period. I missed a couple of days of work at my first job because of my period, and I had to have someone step in for me, and of course I had to pay them. So again, for all those people who just open their mouths to say, but it's just a period, it's going to insult you, but yeah, I have no energy, and I don't want to choose violence today because the world is already such a violent place today. So yeah, I'm in my fields. I'm feeling some type of way. I feel like I have no control. I was supposed to collect a graduation cake. Today is Tuesday, I think. Yes, so tomorrow, so that I deliver it on Thursday. I'd already made the commitment. I was going to pay for half my ticket and as a gift to the person who's graduating, because I'm on broke status right now until I get another job. My former employer, this cleaning company called Top, I challenged them because they hadn't paid me in full for the hours I worked in August. And then they're in Leipzig, by the way. And then so that happened. And I wrote them, and HR was like, "Yeah, sure, we'll pay you." It's on my Instagram stories. And then after that, not stories, on the reel I shared last. And then they've not just not paid me in full for August, which was the first month I worked. They've also not paid me for the hours I worked in September. They sent me a termination letter. I was going to quit the job anyway. And I told them I wasn't feeling well. I don't like to lie about illness, so I didn't go to Aoka, to get, I didn't go to a doctor to get a doctor's note so that I'm paid for the days I was sick. Because those are days I was sick and at home. Like, the social anxiety was really bad, or my depression was really bad, or my period was just bad. And when I say my period is bad, sometimes it's pain, sometimes it's heavy bleeding, sometimes it's both. And I can tell, because I have over 2 decades of experience, that if I leave the house today, I am going to be bleeding on the ground. Like, the days when my flow is so heavy, I have to change within an hour. Like, if I changed my pad at 12 or my menstrual cup at 12, I need to have access to a toilet before 1 p.m. So I'm just waiting to see if I have any grounds to sue these people, because I was informed by a black person who's now a citizen of this country that that's a thing they do. They target desperate immigrants, and they don't give you a contract so that you have nothing to go up against them with, but they take your information down. And they took my information, and I have an email indicating that they were going to pay me. And then, of course, they sent back an email saying, "Oh yeah, we were informed that the client was not happy because there was some cleaning that wasn't done thoroughly, so you're not getting paid for August." And I'm like, "Okay, so what about September?" First of all, I was not getting paid for the thoroughness of my work. I was getting paid for work done, because I got corrections, and I believed, to the best of my ability, I corrected my behavior. And secondly, because this is the thing I'm asking myself, how come none of my high-end clients are complaining? The ones who actually can tell me to my face, "Oh yeah, you didn't clean the door handles well, you didn't clean the floor well." The ones paying me double what I was making at that school, how come they are not complaining? Okay, of course, like, the someone who's asking, how do we know they're not complaining? The things, I'm not perfect. The things I lie about, the things I don't lie about. Sickness, and if I'm not well, I'm not well. But then if I'm well, I I personally, this is just me. I personally have a problem with sitting in the house and lying about being sick. When I told them I was not well and I need to go to Berlin to see a specialist, it's because I wanted to see a black doctor in Berlin about my fibroids. I have not given them any of my personal information or any of my, like doctor appointment things, because when I went to Berlin, I had to prioritize working over going for this appointment because they had not paid me enough for me to afford to pay out of pocket for this disappointment. And also there's this nasty bureaucracy that is the healthcare system in Germany, where you book your doctor's appointment online, and I cannot book an appointment to see a doctor in Berlin in a couple of days because it takes a while to do. And secondly, I don't actually live in Berlin yet, so I can't plan around someone else's house when I have access to that house for maybe 48 hours. Like, if there's a way I would sue this company to unemploy, like to bankruptcy, I would love to, because I cannot stand people who oppress other people, especially when the big boss of the company met me the first day I was signing this document before I had an official contract, and he made an effort to let me know that he had friends from many different cultures, which is white people speak for I have black friends, which is white people speak for I am not racist. One of the reasons why we in the diaspora are saying that our sitting president has sold us like slaves when he says we are going to find work in Germany is those who've been here even for 2 years know this country is hard to live in for any person of color, but especially, and I am biased as I say this because I am a black woman, dark black people whose German is not perfect. And I've met people whose German is at C1 level, but they still face racial bias. And I lived in Bavaria. Just look up the history of Bavaria to understand why life was so hard for me the first 1.5 years. And then I was in Vienna, which has been voted one of the least friendly places for people to visit in Europe. And native people of Austria, white people, have said this. Yeah, we agree. People who can afford their own homes, are paying mortgages, are citizens by birth, are actually agreeing with that article. I don't remember when the article is from. I think it was last year, summer. And I'm sat here thinking, I'm giving myself until maybe January. If I'm still feeling like this, I'm done with this country. I really am. And that takes some privilege. I have land back home. I will use whatever I've made for the little work I've done. I'll go build a country living home like this one, this beautiful house that you see here. And then I will start my food forest, and I will gather my women so that I have security, and I'll think of next steps. Because I literally was saying to someone today, gosh, I want to go to the US and get my PhD, but I also don't want to wind up dead at the hands of the police. I know someone traveling to America today, and she's a white woman, but she's also genuinely concerned about her safety. Because gun violence is so bad in the US, it's an actual public health crisis. I'm tired and upset. So here we are. I'll let you guys know how I am feeling when I have the capacity to shoot another thing. But if I don't get a job in November or December or January, I'm going back to Kenya. Or just, I'm just done. I just need to finish my thesis and then, but for now, I'm done.